Welcome to NeoScienceHub. Today we are going to talk about rice fortification and what are the health benefits. Let's get an interaction with Dr. Suresh Itapu, who is the Chief Executive Officer of NutriTech Consulting Services Private Limited. Hello sir. So sir, can you just tell about yourself?
Hi. My name is Suresh Itapu. I did my master's and PhD in food science and technology from GB Pant University of Agriculture and Technology in Pantnagar. Then I worked at Purdue University, USA for 5 years as a postdoctoral research fellow. And 2000, I came back to India to join with an organization called American Soybean Association. Now it is called US Soybean Export Council. So I can do consulting with US Soybean Export Council, and also I have my own consulting company called NutriTech Consulting Services, where we develop nutrition product, health foods or processed food products for the industry. So this is in brief about me. Yeah.
So sir, what exactly fortification is? Can you just explain about?
Fortification is a way of adding nutrients to our food. See, now it is really picking up very well, especially in India and in the developing countries, because the governments have realized the impact of the nutrient deficiencies, whether it is macronutrients like protein deficiency or micronutrients like vitamin mineral deficiency. So this deficiency, you may not see the immediate problem, but it will have a lot of impact on our body and our growth and development and performance. And especially if you look at iron deficiency, which is a very big problem in India, in iron deficiency, it will lead to a lot of performance problems. People will get sick, immunity will be low, they cannot perform to its fullest extent. So that is the reason, in order to overcome the deficiencies which the various population, especially like India, the vitamin mineral deficiency and protein deficiency, so we are adding these nutrients to the food. So that is the fortification. So this has a lot of benefits, and there is a Nobel laureates committee in Copenhagen consensus, what they call. So in that consensus, a lot of Nobel laureates, they sat together and they evaluated, and then they came up with a solution that food fortification is the one of the most efficient ways of improving health. And also they said that this has a lot of positive impact on the growth of a country, especially the GDP can be improved, because if somebody has a deficiency, let's say iron deficiency, so that will lead to your poor performance. That means if I am iron deficient with iron, so I may not be able to give my 100% when I am working, because I will be falling sick, I may have other morbidity like cold and other things, so my performance will be less and maybe falling sick. So looking at all these things, fortification is found to be one of the most economical way of development, and the return on investment on fortification is very high. So that is how now a lot of governments and regulators are looking at fortification, one of the ways to improve the nutritional status and health status of the population.
So sir, what are the types in it?
You mean to the fortification?
Yes sir.
See, fortification is, there are two types. One is macronutrient fortification, that is what you will fortify your food with macronutrients like protein, mostly the protein. Macronutrients means protein, fat and carbohydrate, but the most problematic issue is with the protein. So that is what usually protein fortification is one way. And in the micronutrient fortifications, that like vitamin and mineral fortification, so that is another type. So in India, not only in India, globally, people have very high incidence of vitamin and mineral deficiency, especially for iron, folic acid, vitamin B12 and zinc and selenium, like that. There are the number of deficiency. Vitamin A is another big deficiency. So based on that particular problem in that particular population, the government or the regulators, they say that we should add these vitamin minerals in our food product through the fortification process.
So, sir, what is the nutrition value for fortified rice?
Okay, fortified rice. Before going into fortified rice, I just would like to mention this is called fortified rice kernel. Okay, so fortified rice kernel is a kernel, looks like rice. If you see any of these particular, maybe it is more clear in this particular product. It looks like rice. Okay, like rice grain. So this is actually made using a process called extrusion process. So in this process, what we do is you take broken rice, which is a byproduct of rice milling industry. So in that broken rice, you add these required vitamin minerals, like whatever the government wants the population to consume, like iron, folic acid, B12. In India, if you look at it, these are the three mandatory micronutrients: iron, folic acid, and B12. So we add these in a little higher concentration. So this what is called the fortified rice kernel. That means the kernel which is fortified with the micronutrients. This fortified rice kernel is added 1% to the regular rice. So when you add 1% of this fortified rice kernel to regular rice, what we consume, that is called the fortified rice. So what are the nutrients in that? Means if you look at currently what the government of India is doing is adding iron, folic acid and B12. This is the mandatory. If you are saying it is a fortified rice, you can add these three vitamins and minerals. Or if you are interested in adding more, government of India allows addition of thiamine, that is B1, B2, B3, B6, zinc, and even vitamin A can be added. That is based on the requirement of a certain state government or a feeding program implementing agency. If they are looking at, you are allowed to add those things. But if you are saying fortified rice, it should at least provide iron, folic acid and B12.
So, what are the health benefits?
See, if you look at rice fortification, health benefits means it is more of a nutritional benefit. Okay, so that is indirectly it will have a health implications, but especially if you look at iron fortification or iron deficiency. So if somebody has iron deficiency, then they will have health issues like anemia. So anemia means the iron content in the blood, that is the hemoglobin level is low. So that is one of the biggest problems. So hemoglobin level is more low or anemia is there, that means it will have more performance based nutritional issue than health issue, but it may have implications on the health and the performance. Similarly, if you look at folic acid, which is another nutrient, so that will lead to some birth defects, especially when the mother during the time of pregnancy, if she has a folic acid deficiency, the baby may have a neural tubular birth defect, so they cannot grow, the spine cannot grow. So that is you can call it as a health problem, but it's a nutritional problem. So these will have implications on nutritional status, so which may have implications on the health, in the sense like if you have iron deficiency, then your immunity will be low. Like now because of the pandemic situation, COVID situation, everybody is talking about immunity. So if you have low iron consumption deficiency, then you will have low immunity. That means you will be falling sick easily or maybe getting cold. So these are the morbidity and then other immunity related issues. So that is a health issue, but that is because of your iron deficiency, which is a nutritional deficiency. I hope that is clear. Yeah.
So, sir, most of the doctors for the a diabetic patient, they say that you have to take brown rice. So, what is the difference between brown rice and the fortified rice for the diabetic patient?
See, if you look at for diabetic people, there is fortified rice. What I am talking about, the micronutrient fortified rice, it is good for even for the diabetic people. But why the doctors suggest taking brown rice? Because it has a low glycemic index and it has naturally vitamin minerals. Brown rice means when you take paddy, when you take the hulls, the grain is it has a layer called bran layer. So that is that bran is removed during the polishing process, which has all the vitamins and minerals. So if you take out that, and you will be losing all the vitamin minerals, and at the same time it also has fiber, and that will make the rice absorb slowly in the body, that is called low glycemic index. So the fortified rice with vitamins and minerals will not have much impact on the glycemic index. It will provide the vitamins and minerals to the diabetic population. But here we bring another concept, is the macronutrient fortified rice. Again we using the same technology like extrusion technology. We make this rice. We made this rice using broken rice, which is a rice milling byproduct. So in that we have added 5% protein, soy protein isolate. So what it is, during the extrusion process, the rice will be developed, will become like a resistant starch, because during the extrusion process there is some amount of gelatinization, partial gelatinization in the product. So this will this rice will become low glycemic index. That means it will take little longer time for our body to absorb that or digest that and convert into sugar. So in case of brown rice, that is what it does, providing the vitamins and minerals and also lower glycemic index. Similarly, if you have a high protein rice with vitamins and minerals added, so it will provide you the vitamin minerals, it will bring down the glycemic index, it will also add additional protein. See, usually diabetics, if you look at diabetic population, in India we have about 75 million, that means 7.5 crore diabetic population, especially in the rice eating area. So this is actually increasing, and the estimates say that it's maybe even more than the 75 million reported diabetic cases. So for these diabetic people, they have other complications like kidney problem, heart diseases. A diabetic person will get prone to get heart diseases more than a regular person. So they need little more protein than a regular person. So if you are eating this rice, extruded diabetic friendly rice, which has vitamin minerals added, which has protein added, it will have a low glycemic index. It is a fortified rice with both macronutrients and micronutrients, and will also give you additional benefit of high protein and help you in fighting diseases like heart diseases, because soy protein isolate found to be beneficial in reducing the incidence of heart diseases by reducing cholesterol. So that is the reason brown rice added. Now we are trying to add additional value to the broken rice, which is a byproduct, using the food processing technology to make a product which is a diabetic friendly rice, especially in countries like India, where we have about 60% people consuming rice as a staple.
So sir, how many days we can store a fortified rice?
So this can be stored like any other rice. There is no problem. Actually, the fortified rice kernel will have 9 months to 12 months, 1 year shelf life. But the major thing is in the fortified rice, this is only 1%. Like if you take 1 kg of rice, fortified rice, so this will only have 10 grams of the fortified rice kernel, but 99% is the regular rice. The life of that depends on the regular life of the regular rice. But in general, rice have a very long shelf life, and usually people prefer the older rice because it tastes better and it will have a more different composition, so it cooks better. So that's what they look at it. This is not going to impact, the fortified rice kernel is not going to impact. If you are asking me this question thinking that rice may have insects in it,
Yeah.
especially in the rainy season or in the high humidity timing, so the insects will grow. So the life depends on that particular rice quality, not on the fortified rice kernel. But whereas if you look at this extruded high protein low glycemic fortified rice, which is extruded, where we consume it 100%, this is better than regular rice because this will not be affected by the insects. So this will I have products made more than 5 years old product. So this is very much resistant to insect infestation because of the extrusion process.
So sir, can you just explain the extrusion process, how it is done?
Extrusion process is one of the most versatile food processing technology, what we do is, in this process there will be a barrel. Inside that barrel there will be either one screw will be rotating or two screws will be rotating. So this in the barrel, when the screws are rotating, like it is like friction. When you rub your hands, the heat is generated. So in the barrel the screws will be rotating at a very high speed, so that will create heat energy. So when you put a product in that extruder, that is called extruder, inside the barrel where the screws are rotating, because of the temperature, that will be, the product will be cooked, and once it processed out of this the barrel, and there will be a something called a die, where you will give the shape of the product, of desired product. So this is one of the most versatile technologies of food processing, because it can handle number of products and it can give various number of ingredients. Like if you see in my table, you will see this is one product which is like a rice. It is made with extruder. This is dal. This is made with soy flour and wheat flour or a corn flour. So you will add different ingredients. You will put a die of this shape and you will get this product. And this is another extruded product where you will use 100% defatted soy flour or a combination of soy flour, soy protein isolate or a concentrate, and you extrude it. And when you extrude it, it will give a meat kind of texture or something like this. This is also an extruded product. Or see, this all extruded products can be further processed into meat analogs, which is like another big market which is growing. So these are some of the products which you use with extrusion, and extrusion is so versatile. This is one of the most widely accepted food processing technology to make the breakfast cereals. I don't have anything here on the table, but breakfast cereals like Chacos, a lot of people know that. And then we have something like if you see here in this, this is the rice which is made with millets. Nowadays there is a lot of interest in millet based products. So if somebody is not used to consuming millet, so it will be difficult for them to daily introduce millet into their daily diet. So we converted that millets into rice. So you can do that. Like one simple example is kurkure. Everybody knows it is an extruded product. All the lot of snack products, breakfast cereals, and then the textured meat kind of products or rice. So there are so many shapes, so many variants you can make. Now you will be very surprised. I don't have it here. You know pani puri. See, now the pani puri, the puri, which is usually made with hand, now the technology has adapted so much. You can actually make a pani puri using an extruder, and then when you fry it, this will increase in the size. It may look like a small chip, but when you fry it, it will become like a big pani puri. So like I always say that imagination is the limitation as far as extrusion technology is concerned, because you will be processing this in the barrel with the screws, and you vary the raw materials, you change the shape of the product. There are certain operations after extrusion, so that will give you various kinds of products and applications to make different kinds of products.
So sir, in a day, how much nutrition our body needs?
See, that depends. Of course, I'm not a nutrition expert. Of course, I did one nutrition course. I understand nutrition because of my knowledge, because of my work, and but I'm not a nutrition expert. But if you look at the nutritional requirement, we have ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, which is Government of India under Ministry of Health. So they have they lay down standards, especially RDAs, recommended daily allowance for nutrients, based on our physical and physiological status. We have NIN here in Hyderabad, the National Institute of Nutrition. They review the Indian population's nutrition needs and give different RDAs, recommended daily allowance for nutrients. Like if you look at protein, we need, every human being needs protein on a daily basis, because protein is not one nutrient that is stored in our body. Whatever is required for you, you have to take it today, and tomorrow again it is a fresh, you need it. So if you don't use it, that the body has to take it out from through the kidneys. So for protein, our daily requirement will be about 1 gram of protein per kg body weight. If you take my example, I am 70 2 kgs weight. I am a sedentary person, not doing much of activities. So my daily requirement is 70 grams of protein. But whereas if I am, suppose if I am a sports person or doing lot of physical activity or building muscle, so my requirement may go up to 1.2 gram per kg body weight. And whereas if somebody like a growing child, so because they are growing, their muscle will be growing, its protein is like a building blocks for our body. So if somebody is growing, they need more protein. Maybe a child who is growing may need as high as 2 grams of protein. Similarly, the pregnant women, lactating mothers, because they have to feed the baby also, so their protein is requirement is different. So what I'm trying to say is, based on your physical activity and your physiological status and age, so your protein requirement is different. Similarly, ICMR has given recommendations for all the vitamins and minerals. Like if you look at iron, which is another critical vitamin, micronutrients like mineral. So we need, a normal person like me need 14 milligrams. Maybe a girl may need a little higher. Pregnant women, lactating mother needs little higher. So this is all. Similarly, if you look at thiamine, which is B1, so we all need 1 milligram per kg, 1 milligram per day. So if you look at folic acid, which I have been talking, which is very important, we need about 200 milligrams of folic acid per day. So each vitamin mineral, based on the function it does in our body, nutrition experts like ICMR, NIN, they say that in our body we need this much amount of nutrients. So they lay down the standard, they lay down the numbers like recommended daily allowance, so that we can take at least that much amount in a daily to have a normal life.
So sir, in a market, if we are going to purchase a rice like fortified rice, so how do we identify?
See that for that Government of India, there is an organization called FSSA, Food Safety Standards Authority, which is the regulatory body in Government of in India. So this what they have done is, like if you put it on the label like this, of course this is not a fortified food. Like FSSA says, if it is a vegetarian, you need to have this green dot. Similarly, if it is a fortified food, you are supposed to put a logo F plus. Whether it is rice, whether it is wheat which is fortified, whether it is oil which is fortified with fat soluble vitamins like vitamin A, D, E and K. So you will put that F plus logo on the label, on the packaging, so that consumers, when I go and buy it in the market, I will know, oh, this is a fortified food. So that is what needs to be put on the fortified food.
So sir, as we know in India, like most of us, like especially the government school, are concentrating on midday meal scheme. So what kind of rice they do use?
See, in the midday meal program, now it is being made it mandatory to use whatever rice going into the midday meal programs or ICDS programs need to be fortified with minimum of these 3 vitamin minerals: iron, folic acid and B12. If like if you look at Akshay Patra, which is a feeding program implementing organization, so they what they do is, they in some of those kitchens, say they actually go for 9 vitamin minerals. That depends on them. But in those MDM midday meal programs, you are supposed to have these 3 vitamin fortified rice in the midday meal program. That is now being made it mandatory. Of course, because of the corona, now all the schools are not open. Once they are open, it is supposed to do that. And Government of India actually on 15th August 2021, Prime Minister Modi has informed from Red Fort that, saying that by end of 2024, Government of India is going to fortify all the rice that is going into the midday meal scheme, what you mentioned, ICDS, that is Integrated Child Development Scheme, that is the Anganwadi centers, and the public distribution system where we get the ration. So all the rice going into these 3 government programs will be fortified with at least with 3 vitamins and minerals.
So sir, as we know, like compared to other countries, our India is lagging behind lack of malnutrition. So what are the reasons for it?
So we have very high instance of micronutrient malnutrition in India. It is because of our food habits are changing. And see, if you look at the vitamin minerals are primarily comes from fruits and vegetables. Our consumption of fruits and vegetables is going down. And if you look at the grains, especially like rice, wheat or other grains, they also provide good amount of B complex vitamins and minerals. But we are like, if you look at rice, so how many of us are actually eating brown rice? We are polishing that rice. So the vitamin minerals which are there in the bran, which is the outer layer of the rice, is being lost during the polishing process. So our intake of vitamin minerals is also going down. So that is one of the reasons why we have very high instance of vitamin mineral deficiency. And also if you look at the protein, that is another big area, macronutrient deficiency. Like the new studies shows that almost like 85% of the non-vegetarians and 90% of the vegetarians are deficient in protein. Like what I said, we need 1 gram per kg body weight. Protein deficiency is there, and also on top of it, I would like to add protein quality deficiency, because most Indians are vegetarians, even though there are a lot of people. Actually, see, the vegetarians are only around 28-29%. The rest are all non-vegetarians. That is fine. But the thing is, if somebody is a non-vegetarian, he or she doesn't eat meat every day, or every day twice, at least twice a day they don't eat. Or so it is more like we may eat one meal in a week or 2 meals in a week. So for all practical reasons, we are depending on protein. We are depending on vegetarian sources for protein. So most of our, almost like 60% of our protein is coming from cereals like rice and wheat. Rice and wheat are first low in protein. On top of it, the quality of protein is inferior compared to the animal proteins like milk and egg or meat. So this soy is the only one which is of course made out of this. You can see the soybeans here. Soybean is the only vegetarian source which have a protein quality equal to milk and egg. So because we don't have not taking enough soybean, we are not taking enough meat, so our protein deficiency is there, and our consumption of fruits and vegetables is getting low. So that is why we have a micronutrient deficiency like iron and like vitamin and minerals.
So, sir, are you working on any project? If you are working, can you please explain us?
See, as I mentioned in the beginning, we work on various development of various health foods and nutrition products to the industry, and I work very closely with US Soybean Export Council, where we are working on various soy-based products. Like I was mentioning about Fortified high protein, low glycemic rice with using soy protein isolate. Meat analogs like this is something we have been very actively working on, because this particular product is something which is getting a lot of popularity in the world today. We can actually do a complete program on this particular segment itself, because there is quite a bit interest in plant-based proteins. Similarly, we have been working on plant-based dairy alternates like soy milk, tofu, which is an alternate to paneer, and we are working on soy cheese, yogurt, ice cream, soy ice cream. So these are all plant-based, soy-based products, and also we are helping industry with something like a nutritional supplements or disease-specific supplements using soy and other ingredients, because we have very high incidence of diet-related degenerative diseases in India like heart diseases, diabetes, cancer, and osteoporosis, where we are developing products to that specific target group. And also recently we did some work on soy nuts, which is again a product made from soybeans, which can be a perfect alternate to peanuts. And we made I have those products there. We made soy nut butter as an alternate to peanut butter, and we even made soya coffee, which has a caffeine free, protein rich coffee which tastes like coffee, and you don't have to have any caffeine and also can get protein. So these are some of the products, and we have quite a few products we are working on based on the industry, primarily focusing on health and nutrition aspects. As I was mentioning a little while ago before the interview, we are working with processing of fruits and vegetables as a natural source of vitamins and minerals, because fruits, and as I said just now, I mentioned fruits and vegetables are the rich source of vitamins and minerals. So we can use them to make value added products, which can be a way to add value at the farm level and provide employment to the rural women and youth. The food processing can provide employment opportunities to rural women and youth, and also add value to the agriculture produce at the farm level. So quite a few range of products we are working, primarily focused on health, nutrition, and maybe as a ways of entrepreneur development to the women and youth. That's what Government of India is promoting. We have Make in India program, things like that, so which can help in providing the opportunities to the entrepreneurs.
So, sir, compared to white rice, the fortified rice will be expensive.
The fortified rice may be slightly expensive, but as we were discussing, by end of 2024, Government of India wants to fortify all the rice in the government programs with the iron, folic acid, and B12 provide the fortified rice. So for that segment, it is not really going to make any impact, because the Government of India is going to cover up that cost. But if you are really talking about the cost of fortification, there is a slight increase, like current pricing. If you are adding 1% of this fortified rice into regular rice, if you take regular rice prices, let us say 25 rupees or so, so you are incurring maybe around 30 to 35 paisa per kg. That is the additional cost for the fortified rice. So that is not going to have any impact on the rice that is going into the public distribution system or ICDS or MDM, midday meal. But when you are looking at the general public like you and I buy in the market, yes, there will be slight increase. It is only like 35 paisa, maybe 40 paisa is the additional cost the manufacturer may have to incur on this. But when it comes to the product, maybe it may impact us by increasing the price maybe by a rupee or so per kg. Like suppose if I am buying a rice at almost 60 rupees in the market, so if it is going to increase by 1 rupee, it is really not going to make the cost implication. But the amount of nutrition, amount of the benefit this provide, even at 1% to when we consume that rice, that 1 rupee is not a big issue. And as I was mentioning in the beginning, in order to overcome the nutritional and development issues the world population today is facing, this is one of the most economical way of dealing with that. That is what the Nobel laureates during the Copenhagen consensus, they said this has the best return on investment. If you invest 1 rupee or 35-40 paise on this, the amount of benefit it is going to make to the consumer like me is enormous.
So, sir, for cooking time, usually how much the fortified rice which is being there, so how much time does it take to cook?
It doesn't take any additional time. Actually speaking, this fortified rice kernel is actually, it cooks faster than regular rice. Okay, but anyway, we are adding only 1%. This is not going to add additional cooking time, or it is not going to make additional cooking habits. Whatever way you do, you can do the same thing, and it is not going to have any effect on the taste. So this has been tried and tested all over the world for the last, I would say, last 15 years or so. This has been tested. I personally was involved in evaluating the rice fortification project in Myanmar way back in 2014-15. So where we interacted with the entrepreneurs, interacted with the consumers, interacted with the retailers, and see how it is impacting its taste, or its cooking characteristics, cooking habits. We have done that, and it has been like any other. Unless I was told, you will not even find out, because we have done so many cooking trials. When you cook it with the fortified rice with adding FRK, fortified rice kernel, it will be very difficult to actually identify that grain. And if you look at this product, which is a little different than this, because in this product you consume this is high protein low glycemic rice, you consume it 100%, whereas this is only 1%. In this, actually this takes less time to cook than regular rice, because this is already processed. In fact, we haven't done the process here, but if you make slight modification to the process, you can convert this as an instant rice, like you know, the 2-minute noodle concept. Similar to that, we can actually put it in hot water, maybe keep it on the table for 5 minutes without doing anything. Within 5 minutes it will be cooked. So this is already processed in the extruder, so you will have a better cooking characteristics. But whereas in fortified rice, we are not doing that. We want to make it as close as regular rice as far as cooking is concerned, taste is concerned, and cooking habits are concerned. So it is exactly like regular rice, except a slight change in the color. Actually, we wanted to keep that color little different, because so that the consumers would know that yes, it has a white rice fortified with vitamins and minerals.
Thank you, sir, for sharing informative information with Neoscience Hub.